Well, it's one of the biggest hunts in aviation history. The mystery of the missing Malaysian passenger jet has now drawn in more than 25 countries, helping to search a vast section of the planet's surface. Meanwhile, speculation continues as to why someone on board appears to have taken the plane thousands of miles off course, as Porrick O'Brien reports.
The families of the passengers and crew, the whole world, asking one question. What happened to flight MH370? Looking for the answer is becoming the biggest search of its kind the world has ever seen.
From focusing mainly on shallow seas, we are now looking at large tracts of land, crossing 11 countries as well as deep and remote oceans. The number of countries involved in the search and rescue operation has increased from 14 to 25, which brings new challenges of coordination and diplomacy.
Based on satellite information, the search operation is focusing on two corridors now. Let's look at the first one, the northern corridor, stretching from the border of Thailand and Laos up as far north as Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, an area including the Himalayas and 2,000 miles of Chinese countryside. Now let's look at the southern corridor. That brings us across the Indian Ocean. And remember, average depth here, 3,900 metres. This is a sizable chunk of the Earth's surface. The logistics, nightmarishly complicated. The search, one of the biggest ever undertaken. So at one end of the scale, oceans and enormous land masses. At the other end of the search, pilots' homes and the profiling of passengers and ground crew.
The four areas of our focus on the investigations: number one, hijacking; number two is sabotage; number three is personal problem; and number four is psychological problem. That doesn't change, and that includes all the ground staff, everybody.
And into the information void, the theorising. Political fanaticism, Al-Qaeda, cyber hijacking. But at the heart of this mystery, the pain of families and loved ones, all desperate for an answer.
Channel 4 News has learnt that the last vocal transmission from the Malaysian aircraft took place after its other communication systems had been switched off. With news of that revelation and the day's other events in Kuala Lumpur, our Asia correspondent John Sparks sent us this a little earlier.
Malaysian police have spent the weekend investigating members of the crew as well as passengers and engineers who had contact with Flight 370 before it departed. They've also searched the home of the pilot, Zahari Ahmed Shah, and his sophisticated flight simulator has also been removed from his house. Experts are analysing it now, we understand. The home of the co-pilot, 27-year-old Farik Abdul Hamid, has also been searched, and that has fueled intense speculation here in Kuala Lumpur about the actions of the pilots on the night the plane disappeared. Remember, the last contact we had with the cockpit of Flight 370 was a relaxed-sounding, "all right, good night." That was to air traffic controllers as the plane entered Vietnamese airspace. So I took the opportunity to ask the Minister of Transport today about it. Was the ACAR's data system pulled or disabled before the pilot said, "all right, good night" to Malaysia Air Traffic Control, or was it disabled afterwards?
Yes, it was disabled before.
That's significant because it suggests that this scheme to render the plane invisible and fly it off course was well planned, it was well thought through, and it suggests that it was the pilot or the co-pilot who switched off the plane's communications gear or were forced to do so under duress. It's not just the pilots who are under investigation though, the passengers are as well, although little progress has been made there. The Malaysian police chief today said that their names had been passed on to a few foreign intelligence agencies, but they'd come back, he said, with nothing.
Our Asia correspondent John Sparks.